Have you ever stood in your kitchen, looked around at the fridge, the cabinets, and just thought, what should I eat today? Not what sounds good, not what's easiest, but what your body actually needs now that you're older. It's not a question most of us grew up asking ourselves. But somewhere after 60, it starts to matter more. Not just for energy, but for your bones, your heart, even your memory. Maybe you've noticed it lately, your energy isn't what it used to be. You feel fuller faster, but somehow still tired after eating. Or you've started skipping meals because nothing sounds appealing. Or worse, you're relying on toast and tea because it's simple. The truth is, your body changes as you age. But most of us weren't taught how to feed ourselves for this stage of life. And let's be honest, it's hard to change old habits when the world around you still pushes youth-focused diets and miracle shakes made for 20-year-olds. But let me tell you something powerful. Eating well after 60 isn't about restriction. It's not about diets or weight loss or counting every calorie. It's about fueling the best years of your life. It's about giving your body the tools to stay independent, sharp, mobile, and yes, happy. So today, let's have a real talk. Not a lecture, not a doctor's visit, just you and me, figuring out how to nourish a body that's lived decades and still has plenty more to go. Let's start with something most people overlook: protein. We've been told to eat less as we age. But what we really need is smarter eating, and protein is the foundation. When you were younger, your muscles could bounce back from a bad week of meals. But now, your body starts to lose muscle at a faster rate. And if you're not eating enough protein, you're inviting weakness, fatigue, and even a higher risk of falls. That doesn't mean you need to start slamming down protein shakes like a gym bro. It just means being intentional. Maybe you add a boiled egg to your breakfast. Maybe you choose Greek yogurt instead of sugary cereal. Maybe at lunch, you add some chicken, lentils, or tofu to your soup or salad. Small shifts, big payoff. Here's a little tip. Aim to have some protein in every meal. Not just at dinner. Think of it like this: your muscles need regular check-ins. Not a once-a-day visit. Every time you eat protein, you're sending a message to your body: stay strong. Don't shrink. Keep going. And while we're talking about meals, let's not ignore hydration. I know, it sounds basic. But hear me out. As we get older, our sense of thirst fades. You might go hours, even most of the day, without realizing you haven't had a proper glass of water. And that tiny oversight? It can snowball. Fatigue, constipation, brain fog, even dizziness, all of it can come from simply not drinking enough. But here's the good news. This is one of the easiest fixes. You don't need to force 8 glasses down your throat. Just build little water moments into your day. A glass when you wake up. A glass with every meal. Herbal tea in the afternoon. Soup counts. Fruit counts. Cucumbers, oranges, strawberries, these are all delicious. Hydrating options that also add flavor and variety to your meals. And let's be honest, who doesn't want a little more variety? Now, let's gently shift to something that doesn't get enough attention: your gut health. Ever feel like your digestion just doesn't work the way it used to? You're not imagining it. Your gut bacteria, the little workers in your digestive system, start to change as you age. They get sluggish, just like we do, and when they're out of balance, it can lead to bloating, gas, constipation, or the opposite, everything moving too fast. So how do you help them out? Fiber, but not the cardboard cereal kind that makes you dread breakfast. I'm talking real, colorful, satisfying foods. Think berries, oats, sweet potatoes, beans, and even popcorn. Not only do these help your digestion, they also feed the good bacteria in your gut, like fertilizer for your internal garden. And when your gut is happy, everything else starts working better. Your energy improves, your mood lifts, your immune system gets a boost. It's all connected. You're not just what you eat, you're what you absorb, digest, and turn into fuel. That's why I always tell people, if you can only change one thing, let it be your plate. The medicines, the supplements, the sleep routines, they all help. But nutrition? That's your foundation. That's your quiet power. And maybe you're sitting there thinking, but I live alone, or I don't have much appetite, or it's too expensive to eat fresh all the time. I hear you. These are real concerns, but what's also real is your ability to adapt. One step at a time. One meal at a time. Frozen veggies are better than no veggies. Canned beans are better than skipping protein. A banana with peanut butter is better than a sugary snack. What matters most is that you keep feeding your body with intention and care. That you start looking at food not as a chore or a budget burden, but as a gift. A way to feel more like yourself again. A way to fight back against frailty, forgetfulness, and fatigue. Because even now, especially now, your body is listening. It's waiting for you to choose foods that help it heal, strengthen, and thrive. Not for anyone else's standards. Not for appearance or approval. But for your own life. Your own energy. Your own joy. Let's keep going. Because once you start feeding your body with intention, something wild happens. You start craving more than just food. You crave movement, clarity, connection, that fire in your belly that says, I'm not done yet. And to keep that fire lit, we've got to talk about micronutrients, the tiny things that make a massive difference. You know, the stuff you can't really see or taste in your food, but your body feels it when it's missing. Let's start with vitamin D. I call it the sunshine silent hero. Most people over 60 are deficient. Especially if you're not outside much or you wear sunblock religiously. And low vitamin D doesn't just make your bones weaker, it messes with your mood. Your energy, even your immune system. It's like walking around with the dimmer switch turned down. And when vitamin D is low, calcium can't do its job either. You could be drinking all the milk in the world. But without enough vitamin D your body can't absorb it properly. That's a big deal, especially when you're trying to protect yourself from osteoporosis, fractures, or even that quiet, creeping back pain that shows up for no reason. So how do you fix it? Simple. Get your levels checked. Ask your doctor. If it's low, they'll usually recommend a supplement. And while you're at it, try stepping outside for 10 to 15 minutes of morning sunlight. No sunglasses. Let your skin feel the light. It's not a cure-all. But it's a ritual, and rituals matter. Now let's talk about a different kind of strength, the brain. You ever walk into a room and forget why you're there? Or tell the same story twice in one conversation and feel that little flicker of embarrassment? That's normal, especially with age. But just because memory changes, doesn't mean it's doomed. Your brain is like a muscle, it needs exercise. Yes, but it also needs fuel. One of the best brain fuels out there? Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. These little warriors help reduce inflammation, improve memory, and might even slow down cognitive decline. If fish isn't your thing, you can try flax seeds, walnuts, or even omega-3 supplements. But again, check with your doctor, because this isn't about trends. This is about you. And speaking of inflammation, let's be honest, chronic inflammation is the enemy of aging. It's behind so many of the aches. The brain fog, the slow healing, but most people never connect it to what's on their plate. So let's cut to it. Processed foods are killing your vibe. Sugary cereals, white bread, frozen dinners filled with salt and mystery meat, these things aren't just bad. They're betraying your body. They make inflammation worse. They mess with your gut, your joints, even your mood. And I know they're convenient. But what's more convenient than having the energy to walk, cook, laugh, and live on your own terms? Now before you panic, this doesn't mean you need to eat kale and quinoa 24/7. This is about swaps, little trades. Instead of sugary breakfast pastries, try oats with berries and a spoon of nut butter. Instead of white rice, go for brown or wild rice, it tastes better anyway. Instead of soda, try sparkling water with a splash of lime. You're not giving up anything. You're trading short-term ease for long-term strength. And let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough. Pleasure matters. Food isn't just fuel. It's joy. It's tradition. It's the taste of your mother's soup or the smell of something baking on a Sunday afternoon. That stuff's sacred. So no, I'm not here to tell you to throw out your favorite dishes. But maybe, just maybe, you can tweak them. Less salt, more fiber, better oil. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done with care. Now, here's where things get real. A lot of older adults stop caring about food, not because they want to, but because they feel invisible. They feel forgotten. They lose their appetite, not from hunger, but from loneliness. And that right there, that breaks my heart. Because food isn't just nutrition. It's connection. And when you eat alone day after day, something inside you starts to dim. So if that's you, I want to challenge you. Just once this week, call someone. Invite them for lunch. Join a community group that eats together. Or better yet, cook for someone. Even a simple soup. Watch how your appetite returns. Watch how your energy shifts. You're not meant to go through this chapter of life isolated. You're meant to be nourished, body and soul. And finally, let's close with something raw and honest. You are still in control. Even if your hands shake a little. Even if the doctor gave you a list of scary things. Even if you forget names sometimes or feel stiff when you wake up. You are still in control. Every choice you make, from the apple you snack on, to the extra step you take instead of sitting down, to the water you drink instead of soda, every one of those choices is an act of resistance. A declaration, a promise to yourself, a promise that says, I'm still here. I'm still building a life I love. I'm still worthy of strength, joy, and good food. You don't need to go back to who you were at 30. That version of you was great. Sure, but this one? This version is wiser, tougher, and ready. Ready to eat well, not out of fear, but out of respect for all the years you've carried yourself this far. There's something we don't talk about enough: why we eat. Not just what we eat. Because after 60, eating isn't always about hunger. Sometimes, it's about filling a silence. Sometimes it's about soothing a sadness you can't name. And sometimes, it's just about habit. That same late-night snack. That afternoon cookie. That comfort meal that's more about memory than nutrition. Let's be real, emotional eating is real at every age. But it hits different when you're older. Maybe you've lost someone. Maybe you've lost many. Maybe your days feel slower, quieter, heavier. That little reward, that bite of sweetness, feels like a warm hand on your shoulder. A reminder that you still feel. And listen, I'm not here to take that away from you. I'm not the food police. What I am here to say is this: if food is your only comfort, it's time to call in backup. Not to replace the food, but to give you more options. Because the real hunger might not be in your belly. It might be in your heart. Start by noticing, what are the moments you reach for snacks out of emotion? Not need? Is it when the house gets quiet after dinner? When the news gets overwhelming? When you feel left out? Forgotten? Frustrated? Just noticing is powerful. That awareness is step 1. Step 2? Replace, not remove. Replace mindless snacking with mindful moments. A short walk, a phone call, music, a cup of tea with your favorite scent. Knitting, reading, even sitting outside and breathing in a breeze. Give your soul something to chew on besides food. But don't stop there. Let's flip the script and talk about food as a fuel for freedom. Because one of the most underrated benefits of eating well after 60 isn't just feeling better, it's moving better. Let's talk mobility. You know what robs seniors of independence the fastest? Not illness, not money, not even memory loss. It's the loss of strength and balance. The simple act of standing up from a chair becomes a struggle. The stairs look steeper. The grocery store becomes a battlefield. But guess what? That kind of decline isn't inevitable. It's preventable. And one of the sharpest tools in your toolkit is still your fork. Your muscles need protein, yes, but they also need magnesium, found in foods like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains. Magnesium helps with muscle function, nerve health, even reducing cramps and that restless, twitchy feeling at night. Your joints need anti-inflammatory foods, like olive oil, berries, turmeric, and fatty fish. Not only do they help with arthritis pain, they support the kind of smooth, steady movement that makes walking feel like a dance instead of a chore. And let's not forget potassium, essential for keeping your blood pressure in check and your muscles from cramping. You'll find it in bananas, sweet potatoes, beans, even avocados. It's like giving your body the green light to keep moving. But here's the twist most people miss: when your body moves well, your mind follows. Which brings us to something that gets swept under the rug all the time: sleep. Everyone says it. I can't sleep like I used to. You toss and turn. You wake up too early. You lie there watching the ceiling, tired but restless, and it wears you down. Poor sleep leads to low energy, cloudy thinking, even more cravings for sugar and carbs just to stay awake. But did you know your diet might be sabotaging your sleep? That innocent cup of coffee after lunch? It's still in your system at bedtime. That chocolate dessert? Sneaky caffeine. That high-salt dinner? Could raise your blood pressure and heart rate just enough to keep your body on edge. And on the flip side, some foods can help you sleep. Try a small snack with complex carbs and a little protein before bed, like whole grain crackers with cheese. Or yogurt with fruit. These help your body produce serotonin, which then turns into melatonin. The sleep hormone. Not a pill, not a potion, just the right food at the right time. And here's the kicker, stable blood sugar throughout the day helps you sleep deeper at night. So don't skip meals, don't overload dinner, keep things balanced, and your body will reward you in the dark. But let's go even deeper. Because behind sleep, behind cravings, behind fatigue, is something sneakier, stress. Yes, stress still lives in your body, even if you're retired, even if the kids are grown, even if the chaos is behind you. Your body still responds to uncertainty, fear, loneliness, regret, and 1,000 other quiet feelings that pile up like dust. And stress affects your digestion, your appetite, your immune system, your sleep, your everything. But again, food is your ally. Foods rich in B vitamins, like eggs, whole grains, legumes, support your nervous system. Foods with tryptophan, like turkey, seeds, oats, help with mood. Dark chocolate, yes, in moderation, even helps release feel-good chemicals in the brain. You don't need a supplement aisle. You need a plate with purpose. And maybe most important of all, you need kindness. From yourself. If you slip up, if you eat the whole bag of chips one night, if you forget to drink water all day, don't punish yourself. You're not a machine. You're not broken. You're just living. And now you know better. So tomorrow, you choose better. You choose balance over binging. You choose fuel over filler. You choose nourishment over numbness. Because you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your future. And every time you do, you prove that aging doesn't mean fading. It means focusing. It means cutting the fluff, keeping what works, and building a life that still has color, flavor, motion, and meaning. So now you know what to eat, how it fuels you, and why it matters. But here's the truth bomb. All that knowledge means nothing if it doesn't fit into your real life. Because let's be honest, it's easy to say, eat more salmon, when you've got a big budget and energy to spare. It's easy to romanticize oatmeal and berries when you don't have joint pain or a fridge full of processed comfort food. That's why part 4 is about making this stick. Turning good advice into real habits. No fluff, no fads, just rhythms, simple, honest, doable rhythms that serve your life. Not complicate it. Let's start at the beginning, the grocery store. This is where the battle begins, and where you either set yourself up for success or sabotage yourself aisle by aisle. The secret? Don't go without a list. That little piece of paper, or your phone's notes app, is your shield against impulse buys, distractions, and marketing tricks. What should be on that list? The holy trinity of senior nutrition: fiber, protein, and color. Start with the basics. Whole grains, oats, brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat bread, protein, eggs, chicken, lentils, canned tuna, tofu, produce, apples, bananas, leafy greens, carrots, frozen berries. Yes, frozen is fine. In fact, frozen fruits and vegetables are often more nutritious than fresh because they're frozen at peak ripeness. And they're cheaper, last longer, and require zero chopping or guilt. And speaking of guilt, you don't need to buy everything organic. Don't let the health food industry shame you into thinking clean eating means expensive eating. Rinsed conventional produce is still far better than skipping it altogether. Now let's talk budget. You don't need to blow your pension on chia seeds and almond flour. Stick to pantry staples. Buy in bulk when you can. Get creative with sales. If beans are cheap this week, make chili. If sweet potatoes are on special, roast them for the week. Use every part of the food you buy. That wilted spinach? Perfect in a soup or stir fry. That half onion? Wrap it, label it, save it. Waste is the enemy of budget-friendly nutrition. And here's the real secret weapon: batch cooking. Instead of cooking every day, which can feel exhausting, pick 1 or 2 days a week to prep a few basics. Cook a big pot of grains. Roast a tray of vegetables. Grill or bake some chicken or tofu. Chop onions, garlic, and herbs ahead of time. Then mix and match during the week. Grain bowl one day, stir fry the next. Soup by Thursday. Suddenly, you're not dieting, you're just living smarter. And don't underestimate the joy of a good soup. 1 pot, 1 spoon, endless nutrition. You can pack it with vegetables, lean protein, legumes, herbs. Freeze the extra. Feed a friend. Sip it slowly. Soup is soul food, on a budget. But here's where the magic really happens. Rhythm. Not rules, not punishment. Rhythm. Think of your meals like music. There's a beat, a pattern. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. Start your morning with intention. A glass of water, something light but nourishing. Maybe oats, maybe eggs, maybe just fruit and toast. No rushing, no skipping. That first meal sets the tone. Midday? Keep it steady. You don't need a feast. You need fuel. Think fiber and protein. A sandwich on whole grain bread. A salad with beans. A simple rice and veggie bowl. Give your brain and body something to work with. Dinner? Make it gentle, warm, comforting but clean. Lean protein, cooked veggies, maybe a little starch, maybe soup. The goal isn't to feel stuffed, it's to feel satisfied and light. Snacks? Make them smart. Nuts, fruit, yogurt, hummus and carrots. Popcorn, not the greasy kind. Water, always water. And here's a tip no one tells you. Ritual matters more than rules. If your Sunday morning means pancakes with your grandkids, don't change that. Add to it. Maybe switch to whole wheat flour. Maybe top them with berries. But keep the ritual. Keep the joy. Food isn't just fuel, it's memory. It's love. And if cooking is hard for you, physically or emotionally, ask for help. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know your energy is precious. There's no shame in meal delivery services, senior center lunches, or inviting a neighbor over to cook together once a week. It's not about pride, it's about preserving your spark. Before we wrap this up, let me say something radical. You don't owe anyone perfect health. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to have bad days. You're allowed to eat the cookie. This isn't about rules, it's about reclaiming power. In your choices, in your rhythm, in your body. Every time you prepare a meal, every time you hydrate, every time you choose something nourishing, you're not just staying alive. You're saying, I still matter. I'm still building. I'm still in this game. And you are. You've come through decades, wars, births, loss, laughter. You've cooked for others. You've skipped meals when times were hard. You've watched the world change around you. But you're still here, and your body is still worth feeding. Feed it with grace, not guilt. Feed it with curiosity, not fear. Feed it with the strength of a life that's not done giving. Because aging isn't the end. It's the beginning of doing things with intention. And that includes every single bite you take from here on out.